Hi there, welcome to today's VAI Coffee Talk. I'll be focusing today on S2K e-commerce and how to increase sales and improve your customer service with this tool. So to start off, our e-commerce application can be your complete website, or you can leave your existing site as is, and you can add in something like Shop From Us or Order Now, and that would create a link that would allow users to log into the site. Now, the application is both B2B and B2C. So for today's purposes, I'm really going to focus on the B2B aspect. So your contacts at your customers would have an opportunity to log in to do customer self-service, but also shopping. So I'll walk through those options with you. So a user can self-register within the application, or you can assign them a user ID and password. Once the individual is assigned a username and password, we know who they are, the application knows who they are, and we know the S2K customer or customers that contact is assigned to. And then the user would have the ability to do as many of the functions listed here as you would allow them to do. Now, through security and configurations, many of these options can be turned off. But for today's purposes, I want to walk through many of these options with you. Again, with the idea of explaining how the application will support a customer self-service capability so that instead of your customers calling to get a copy of an order or a copy of an invoice or how much money do they owe you, they can actually do that all online. In addition to that, though, the application obviously will support customer shopping right online to order product. And I'll walk through that whole process with you as well. But to start off, we'll do the customer self-service functions here. So a customer to start off can log in and check on the status of their order. Now, that order would be any order in S2K. So as you're seeing on the screen here, it could be returns, it could be a quote, it could be a new order. So they'll have an opportunity really to see any of the orders that are still open in the system. Here from this inquiry, they can drill in and they can see specifically here what items were on that order. Now, one of the nice features here as a way of increasing sales is there's an opportunity for them to just click the reorder button. So if this was an order they had placed some time ago, wanted to reorder those same items, literally with the click of this reorder button, they can go ahead and add those items onto their cart. So this is a nice example of the customer self-service, but also a way of helping to increase sales. Scrolling down here, customers can also log in and see, as I mentioned, how much money do they owe you. Okay? Where they may need to, if they don't have a copy of the invoice, instead of calling your customer service team or your AR team, they can actually log right in here and see what those invoices are, the amount that's due, and they can actually drill in and see the details of what was on the order. Now, they'll also have an opportunity, as you'll see in the upper right here, to export this. So if they need a PDF copy, again, they can do it themselves. If they want to drop this into Excel, there's also an opportunity to do that. Now, one of the options here from with the Excel that I'll show you later is also the ability to import from Excel. So it's just another way of easily getting orders into the system. So continuing on, one of the features I really like here within the application, which again can be turned off, but I think it's just a backup to the point of customer self-service and helping to collect money more quickly. There's an option here where customers can pay open receivables with a credit card. So they can actually select the individual invoices that they want to pay. The system would then indicate here the total. The system here then would, indicate here name, address, city, state, zip. If the customer had a credit card number on file, this user could select that, or they can key in a new credit card, and they can actually choose to save that card. Now, this is fully PCI compliant, so technically the credit card information is not stored in S2K, but it can be reused for future orders, both for order entry, and then also for paying these open invoices. So really great feature, and again, another way of getting receivables paid down a little more quickly. Other things here a customer can do is they can see their payment history. So if there was a question about, gee, did we pay an invoice, okay, or the check maybe that they sent, they want to see how it was applied, they'll have an opportunity to search for the check number, just click on the little plus sign here, and it would show the amounts used against all the various invoices that were paid on that check. So again, just another way of customer self-service. So we're going to move now into some of the ways that the application can help you increase sales. So one of those is with an order history. So within the application here, I can see, here's just one example, but the customer has ordered these Post-it half-inch flags. Okay, so what you'll note here is I can just add this to my cart. So I can key in a quantity right from here, and that gets added onto my cart. So if the user logs in and say, hey, what are those things that we've ordered from, in our demo example here, Supply Depot in the past, they'll enter in a quantity and add that to the cart. They'll also, though, have an opportunity to add that to a supply list. Okay? We'll talk more about supply lists in a minute. So what the supply list allows the user to do is keep track by user, okay, of all those items that they regularly reorder. Now, supply lists can be specific to a user. They can be shared, so multiple people can be ordering from the same supply list. But it's a really great way for your customers to store items that they regularly reorder. They can have it in a supply list. They can go ahead and reorder that as they need to. Now, I mentioned this briefly before, but I signed in as a contact, but my contact information here can be attached to multiple customers. In this case, it's attached to both ACC 5000, Accent Office Furniture, and AMS 5000, A&M Supply. It's just an option. Obviously, a user can be limited to only ordering for one S2K customer, but you'll see here a nice option where they can have access to more than one. And of course, customers can just create their own supply lists as they wish, and they can just simply add items onto the supply list. Okay, one of the other nice features of the application, though, is this ability to save a cart. So if I was shopping and then I got interrupted, had to go to a meeting, something like that, I can save my cart and come back to it later. So I can save it. I can also see, though, that you can merge carts. So if I had done a couple of those during the day and I wanted to merge them together to place one order, there's also an opportunity to do that. So again, this is just a nice way for customers to place their own orders online. One of the other really neat features that we have within the application, though, is a quick order function. So if your customers know either their item number or your item number, they can simply key in a quantity and item number here, very simply. Quantity and item number, and that will go ahead and get added onto an order. However, if they have that in some simple format, perhaps it's in a spreadsheet or even a Word document where they separate the items, so we have a quantity and an item number here, they can copy and paste that directly in here, and that would do a bulk add to the order. So again, just another way of really allowing your customers a very easy way to place orders. Now, the other one here that you'll note is a quick order upload. So again, there's an Excel file, very simply laid out, quantity and item number. So the user can fill that in. They can have their spreadsheet. They can upload that spreadsheet here, and that would, again, create an order right within S2K's e-commerce application. So we're trying very hard to make it very easy for customers to place orders, whether that's through history, whether that's through one of these uploads. They'll have an opportunity here to very easily create an order. Now, one of the other nice features, though, is for me as a user, if I need to review and I need to approve orders that maybe other people from my team are entering, I can see what those are. So I would, when I went to the site, I would be able to see here that there's an order pending for me to approve. So, or reject, but there's an opportunity here now, if I'm a super user, if you will, that I can validate that there's orders that are pending and I can approve them, I can reject them, I can make changes to them as need be, but I can go ahead and approve orders here if I have that level of security. Okay, another important point to note here is if you had a new corporate card and wanted to add that in for payment purposes or just a personal card, you can go ahead and add that in directly here. This card information would be saved, again, securely in a PCI compliant manner so that it can be used for future orders, but also, again, to pay for any open invoices. So there's lots and lots of customer self-service functions within the application that will help decrease any calls your team has to take, but it will also help you increase sales, and there's some nice utilities within that. So I just showed you some of the kind of customer self-service functions, but I want to just walk through some of the more traditional shopping capabilities. So in S2K e-commerce, it is fully integrated with the S2K backend. And what I mean by that is as you create an item, that item information is available to be sold within the portal. Not every item that you offer on the ERP side has to be on e-commerce. It's an option, but you can limit what items you want to put for sale on the web. In addition to that, the division of class that you may have used on the back end of S2K may or may not match up with the categories, subcategories, subcategories that you may want to use on the e-commerce site. So that's a whole separate discussion, but just know there's lots of flexibility here. So as I go to the site, maybe I'm looking for a particular type of bookcase. So I'll select some options here, and you'll see that there's obviously some nice graphics here. And this layout is our standard, but this can be configured based on how you may want to present the items to your customers. So I'll see various images here for the items. On the left-hand side, though, there are these product attributes. So this is a great way of limiting what a customer is looking for or helping them search. So if they just want a cherry, as an example, they can click the option here. It'll note the 6 items that match that. So I can see my items here. This is the S2K item number. Okay, I'll see the manufacturer here. In terms of availability, there's lots of options that a user has or that you can set up for a user. So you'll decide whether or not they see actual availability. Maybe it is only a special order, so they would see that. It could just say available. So lots of flexibility in terms of how you go about showing what your inventory availability is. But I can click on an item, I can drill in, I can see more information about it. And again, as a way of helping you increase sales, the system will give you options here to upsell. So we can look at upsell items. So if you're buying this bookcase, maybe you want another one to go with it. But there's also related items. So if you were ordering a bookcase, maybe there's some cleaning materials you want to go with it. So the upsell and cross-sell, upsell and related items are really important within the application because it's a great way to help you increase sales. Now, you'll see here if there are quantity breaks available for this customer, their pricing will be here. And if I am a customer and I log in, I'm going to see my customer-specific pricing. So I click that item, okay, select the quantity that I want. It gets added into my cart, so I'm going to see that there's an item in my cart right here. Okay, it shows again the thumbnail image of what was added to the cart. So I have visibility to see exactly what items were just added in. And then I can start to walk through how to complete an order. So I'm going to see here again a summary of the item. We've added a feature here in S2K 6.1 where you can enter in line item comments here. So if this was a special comment, make sure you ship all items together, please wrap this in a special container or what have you. You can enter in specific comments here. Now again, I talked about saving of carts. You can do that right from here. So we can save this cart, come back to it later. For our purposes, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the checkout. So here's my dollar total. Okay. It's going to ask me to select a shipping address. I can just have one default. If I'm allowed, I can select from multiple ship-to addresses. And similarly, what's the shipping method? So this will default in from the customer master. How do we normally ship to this customer? Okay. And then I can continue on here. And so this is going to show me all the items in the cart. There are coupon codes here too. So again, a way of increasing sales and driving more traffic to your website is you can have coupon codes. So, and you can limit the number of times that coupon is used. Maybe that coupon is for free shipping, or there's a discount, or some special pricing. But there's a number of options for the coupon codes that can be used. And you can also set up promotions here. So I can say, well, you're going to go and get a 3% discount if you order via e-commerce. So in my example here, we'll see this customer is eligible for an additional 3% discount, the subtotal, any tax, and then a grand total would be listed directly here. Okay. At the bottom part of the screen, this is where I'll see my billing and shipping information. When do I want this shipped? So it would default to today's date. I can change that date, obviously, to a date in the future. Okay. What's the email address for the person who wants to get the order confirmation? If in the back end of S2K you've set up that a purchase order number is required, it's also required here in e-commerce. So the user would be forced to enter in a purchase order number before they could complete the order. I showed you line item comments before. So against any line item on an e-commerce order, you can enter in comments. But you'll notice here too, there's also order comments. So ship ASAP is a good example. So I can put that comment on there. That's going to be reviewed by the team in the S2K side, so they'll be able to see any special comments that were entered there. Here too, you'll note I can save this as a quote. So if this was a quote I just want to come back to later, I can save this as a quote. Again, I can still save the card here. I can go back and edit. So until you click this submit the order for approval, you can really go back and change. If this customer had payment terms, they would be listed here, but also if they had saved cards, maybe they had a MasterCard and a Visa, they could use their credit card for payment. The application will authorize the card now at the time of order entry for the amount of the order plus a reservation buffer, and then the credit card would get cleared at the time of invoice. So the user would check this box and say, yes, I agree, I want to go ahead and place this order, and they would submit the order for approval. Okay? What then happens is the order is immediately transmitted into S2K. It's assigned an order number, as you're seeing here, 500539, and the user, whose email address we just saw, would get an order confirmation directly from the system. However, if maybe someone else is receiving the order confirmation and you wanted to get a copy and a PDF of this order, the user could export that directly and keep that for a copy for themselves. So again, there's a lot of customer self-service functions built within the application that will really allow your customers to self-service themselves and hopefully minimize any calls or your team's time in answering those questions. They can do it themselves, but also there's some really nice utilities here to help you increase your sales. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you enjoyed this coffee talk.